Right, so in my last video I talked about which assistant is better, either the Amazon Echo or the Google Home, and I think I came to a pretty unanimous decision that the Google Home is just ever so slightly better in terms of voice recognition, which is kind of the most important part. If they can't recognise your voice, then what's the bloody point? So I thought, well, the Google Home Mini is a bit small and rubbish, and the big Google Home is quite pricey, to be perfectly honest with you. It's more expensive than the Amazon Echo. But that's when I found this big white box. It's the Onkyo G3, specifically the VC-VX something. You know what, I totally forgot that model number because it's so complicated. Just call it a G3. In fact, that's what you've done on the front of the box. Let's find out if it's any good. So it actually started out pretty decently. The unboxing was very nice. It felt very well wrapped. It came with the speaker and a power cable, but what more do you need? It's a Wi-Fi speaker. Setup was just as easy as any other Google Home. You plug in the power, you open the Google Home app, and you're essentially done. You just next. Yay, I own a Wi-Fi speaker now. But that's when things start to fall apart. The first part of the Google Home is getting that hot word in there, which is OK Google. OK. As you can probably hear, the Onkyo actually replied there, but a lot of the time I could say Google, and she's just standing me up now. Half the time she doesn't actually recognise that hot word. It's only because I'm sitting quite close to it that it's recognising it right now. When I'm sitting on the other side of the room, she often just ignores me. It's not just like she don't recognise my voice, it's just there's not enough microphones. There's only 2 microphones on top of this unit. On top you've got a play pause button, a Bluetooth pair button, a microphone mute button, volume up and down buttons, but there's 2 things here. One, there's no button to manually activate the Google Home. That's kind of important. The Amazon Echo has the button to automatically hail the assistant, so I don't have to always use my voice. Voice assistants aren't always the best if I can only activate them with my voice, because as clearly evident, this box doesn't always pick up my hot word. So yeah, and when you're playing music, this thing just won't hear you. And that's pretty easy to figure out why, because this thing is blooming loud. I'm telling you now, it has insane amounts of bass. Now sadly, the Google Home app has no EQ settings for this, so you're stuck with what it comes with, which I think is a bit too much. It's definitely room filling, but at the same time, it just feels like it overpowers everything. And while I don't mind the sound quality, I enjoy listening to music on it, kind of defeats the point when she can't hear my own voice over the music, which is something that I never had issues with the Google Home Mini when I had a Chromecast audio setup, which was probably just as loud. So yeah, not an ideal setup, Onkyo. And that probably explains why these things are quite cheap. You can pick these up for about £60 in the UK. The RRP on these is about £200, so I think that the £200 price tag would probably be worth it if A, it had an EQ, and B, it was just better at recognising my voice. It's not as bad as the Amazon Echo, where she recognises the hot word and then just totally messes everything else up. Yeah, the Amazon Echo, my current Amazon Echo, every time I ask her to change the light to white, she just says, "Oh, what time do you want to set an alarm for?" Why are you so dumb? But the Google Home is pretty decent. It's just too bad that the Onkyo G3 is a good sounding speaker, but they just kind of tacked on the Google Assistant. They didn't really think about how it would actually recognise voices. And I think that's why it's cheap, because outside of controlling this via your phone or via Bluetooth, it's just not always easy to talk to it. But without further ado, I'm going to give you a sound demo so you can hear just how bassy this thing is. It is quite impressive. It's a very small speaker, only about the same size as a regular Google Home, but it's just insanely bassy. It really does feel almost too much. It's definitely very impressive, and it'd be really fun for something like a house party. Have a couple of these in a Chromecast group, and oh boy, the roof will be shaking in that joint. But it's not a very good assistant. That's the only problem.
So won't you please stay a bit longer? You're making me stronger, making me stronger. Stay a bit longer. You're making me stronger, making me stronger. You're stronger.
Okay, Google, stop. Okay, Google, stop.
So as you can see, it's definitely got room shaking sound, but I don't think it gets a recommendation from me. The Google Assistant side of it just isn't up to par with what I've expected with the Google Home. Right, so that's it for me from this video. Hopefully you're enjoying the smart home tech videos that I'm doing. I'm going to be doing some more. I've got some smart bulbs on the way, which will be a load of fun. Hopefully then either the Echo or the Google can change my light to yellow and green and blue and whatever colour I blooming want. Maybe I can do rainbows. I do like a good rainbow. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like down below, or maybe even a little comment, and don't forget to subscribe for your dose of tech.